Now that we have heard from law enforcement and the safety community and public health officials and truck drivers about the real world dangers of big trucks, statistics don't lie. And now we're going to hear from Dr. Mark Burton, who is Director of Transportation Economics for the Center for Transportation Research at the University of Tennessee. He has held that position since 2004. Dr. Burton has published numerous academic and consulting studies in the areas of regional transportation and telecommunications economics. He joins with us today to release the results of a new study and to voice his professional concerns about the U.S. DOT comprehensive truck size and weight study and some of the really alarming statistics that they have found as a result of looking at the dangers of big trucks. Thank you so much.
Well, good morning. I am Mark Burton. I am from the University of Tennessee. I have a brother who's a real doctor, so my mother used to say he's the one that helps people. It is a pleasure to be here this morning. I am here to introduce a piece of work that has been prepared by researchers at Marshall University, colleagues, people that I've worked with, and a piece of research that I had the chance to review at several points during its development. So. And I'll talk about some of the specifics of that and also some of the contrast between that and the US DOT study. Let me start though with the bottom line, and that is that to the extent that there is any credible evidence at all, and there's not as much as we would like, but to the extent that there is evidence at all, it suggests that larger, heavier trucks will pose a measurable danger to all of us who drive cars by increasing crash risks. I noted that there isn't as much evidence as we want. There should be, there could be, and I have a soapbox around here someplace. No, Bill took away my soapbox. We could do a better job. We have chosen not to in terms of developing data. So what the Marshall study did, because they couldn't develop new information based on new data or available data, what they did was they very carefully reviewed the empirics that have existed in previous studies over the past decade or so, and where they found it possible, they updated that data and combined data sources in what we refer to as a meta-analysis. In doing so, they were able to derive some very useful new results that unfortunately seem to have gone unnoticed by US DOT. And in doing so, they also took the opportunity to query truck drivers, the people that actually operate the equipment we're talking about, and to talk to law enforcement. Again, efforts that seem to have gone unnoticed by US DOT. With regard to specific effects, one of the Marshall findings is that as opposed to the 11% figure that was in an earlier analysis, updating and carefully culling through the numbers, they found that doubles, that is, the 2-unit configuration increases the likelihood of fatalities or fatal crash incidents by 15.5%. They looked at crash incidents involving trucks with 6 or more axles, the heavy trucks, and found that actually heavy trucks are 8 times more likely to be involved in fatality crashes. That's a stunning figure that we would really like to be able to investigate. But again, the data, while they should be available and could be available, aren't really aren't there for us. They talk to drivers, and Mr. Hoff, I really appreciated your comments. They talked to drivers, and the drivers almost unilaterally said that driving with heavier loads is going to increase the incidence of crashes. Law enforcement, and I grew up in a law enforcement family, and I really respect these guys. Law enforcement says not only will the incidents increase with different configurations, more aggressive configurations, but with heavier loads, because when things go wrong, the process tends to go wrong faster and with worse consequences. One of the things that I was going to do this morning was talk briefly about the USDOT study that's ongoing. Frankly, the Transportation Research Board and their expert panel that's reviewing that said more than I could possibly say in a report they issued yesterday. The USDOT effort for what might be a world of good intentions is wholly inadequate, and it's pointed toward conclusions that are almost foregone. And from an academic standpoint, from somebody who studies this, who likes learning, we find it unacceptable. And more importantly, as a father of a 16-year-old daughter who may learn to drive, this is just not the way this needs to go. Anyway, it's my pleasure to be here this morning, and I thank you very much.